LuminEssence, a concept created by Giselle and Alex Lesner. For this first version of LuminEssence, the idea is very simple. We build a 63-inch wall-mounted panel that, at about 1 to 2 meters distance, behaves like a real daylight opening rather than a screen or a lamp. Everything else in the talk explains how we achieve that effect optically and photometrically. What produces viewing angle change? Figure 1 shows the lenticular lens itself, with tiny cylindrical ridges on the front and a smooth back surface. Figure 2 shows what we print on that back surface, which is not a single picture, but several views of the same scene sliced and interlaced together. When you look from different angles, each ridge sends a different slice toward your eyes, so as you move sideways the scene shifts slightly, which is the viewing angle change we want for LuminEssence. The left diagram shows the desired behavior. As a person moves side to side, each lens sends a slightly different view to the eyes, so the sky shifts smoothly. The right diagram shows what we are not using: vertical flip effects with up-down motion. LuminEssence is optimized for horizontal parallax at normal standing or sitting height. These are examples of what the same lenticular technology looks like in the wild. On the left you see large advertising piece where the image has 3D depth. On the center, an image that shifts as you move. On the right is a custom art piece with the same effect. For LuminEssence we use the same underlying method, but we tune it for calm outdoor views and very gentle motion parallax, so it feels like looking through glass rather than watching in 3D poster. What produces viewing angle change? Our product. For our product, the viewing angle change comes from how we build the image itself. We render about 8 or 9 slightly different views from the same window scene, as if the camera had moved sideways. Those views are interlaced into a single backlit print that is precisely aligned with the pitch of the lenticular lens. The large lenticular sheet then sends different slices of that print to different horizontal angles. When a person walks in front of LuminEssence, the outside view shifts smoothly, instead of staying frozen like a poster. What produces depth perception? The animation explains where the depth feeling comes from. When the image contains several views, objects that are closer shift more between views than objects that are farther away. As the lenticular lens sends different views to the eyes, the brain detects that relative shift, called motion parallax, and interprets it as real depth behind the surface. What produces depth perception? Our product. In our product, the front lenticular sheet is perceived as the glass surface, the place where your eye expects reflections and sharp detail. A short distance behind it we place a backlit multi-view image of the outside view. Because nearby elements in that view shift a bit more across the different angles than distant ones, the brain interprets it as depth behind the glass, not as a flat graphic. What sets light quality and daylight feel? This slide shows the basic idea of a light box. LEDs sit at the edges or behind a light guide plate. The light is spread and diffused inside the cavity, and what you see from the front is a single, bright, uniform surface. LuminEssence uses the same principle, but with higher lumen output and a backlit image instead of a poster, so the panel behaves more like a real daylight opening. What sets light quality and daylight feel? Our product. We operate in a neutral to cool color temperature band, about 4 to 5000 Kelvin, which matches typical daylight indoors. 2 commercial 2x4-foot LED panels give us roughly 7 to 10,000 lumens, so at 1 to 2 meters the illuminance is in the same range you get near a real opening. The diffusion cavity and backlit film smooth that light, so the surface looks like a single extended source rather than individual LEDs. Result: uniform, neutral to cool daylight levels that read as a real architectural window. Key physical and performance specs. Our product. The active area is about 55 by 31 inches, so roughly a 63-inch glass panel. We tune the geometry for people standing or sitting 1 to 2 meters away. Optically, we combine a multi-view backlit print with a 20 to 30 LPI lenticular sheet, aligned for horizontal parallax. Photometrically, we aim for about 800 to 1200 lux at 1 meter in front of the panel, which is in the range of indoor daylight. At prototype scale, the hardware, meaning LEDs, optics, frame and power, is in the few hundred to low $1,000s per unit, not counting labor and overhead. What could prototype V2 include? Our product. For the next prototype we keep the same optical core, but we start adding dynamics and control. The light can follow a simple daytime curve, brighter and cooler around a notional midday, and warmer dimmer in the evening. Users would select presets and schedules from a wall switch or an app, optionally adjust interior shades or louvers to modulate brightness and view. We can also vary frames and exterior scenes for different settings, like offices, healthcare, or hospitality. Result: Prototype v.2 adds gentle dynamics and user control. Contact us for more information about our product.